It's time for Windows Weekly. Paul Thurrott's here. Mary Jo Foley's here. Microsoft's put out the first Windows 11 build of the new year. We'll talk about what's there. The new Windows 11 media player is out. We'll talk about AR, VR, and mixed reality and Microsoft's ambitions there, and whether Meta is still in the VR, AR business. And then, of course, a blue beverage to round out the show. It's all coming up next on Windows Weekly.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
This is Windows Weekly with Paul Thurrott and Mary Jo Foley. Episode 759, recorded Wednesday, January 12th, 2022. Local Hooch. Windows Weekly is brought to you by New Relic. That next 9 p.m. call is just waiting to happen. Get New Relic before it does, and you can get access to the whole New Relic platform and 100 gigabytes of data free forever. No credit card required. Sign up at newrelic.com/windows. And by Melissa. The U.S. Postal Service processes more than 98,000 address changes daily. Is your customer contact data up to date? Try Melissa's APIs in the developer portal. It's easy to log on, sign up, and start playing in the API sandbox 24/7. Get started today with 1,000 records cleaned for free at melissa.com/twit. It's time for Windows Weekly, the show where we cover the latest news from Microsoft. Here's Paul Thurrott, Thurrott.com, leanpub.com. Say hi to the people, Paul.
I'm afraid to speak.
We've been messing with his mic for half an hour. Also with us, Mary Jo Foley, all about Microsoft.com, her ZDNet blog. Hello, Mary Jo.
Hello, Leo.
Hello.
Goodbye, heart.
Yeah, doesn't that sound like a 50s song? Hello, Mary Jo.
Yeah.
Goodbye, love. Let's because for the last few weeks we've started with things besides Windows. Let's start today with Windows. Let's make this it's called Windows Weekly for a reason.
Well, is it? I guess it was.
It was just whatever I happened to have flying around, basically.
Yeah. It's two words that begin with W.
That's it. Alliteration. I like that. Yep.
Yeah. We've had a lot of people over the years who said, "Why don't you call it Microsoft Weekly?" Or something.
Yeah, we have the same problem with all of our shows. This Week in Google's barely about Google.
Yeah.
Mac Break Weekly is as much about iPhone as anything. I mean, it's
Yeah. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
So
what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Windows
gonna
Weekly on the air. Windows 11. What's the latest?
So since we last met, Microsoft has released 2 builds of Windows 11 to the Insider Preview program in the Dev channel. One we must have. I wonder if we spoke about this last week, but one must have come out last Wednesday, and then one just came out right before we started recording. The one from last week, I would say 2 notable changes. They're looking at bringing the Alt plus Tab experience, what we used to call WinFlip very briefly, back to a window-based experience instead of being full screen. So I think the last time it was windowed was probably Windows 7, I'm guessing. So they're experimenting with that. And they also added support for wideband speech. So when using something like Apple AirPods, you can get improved audio quality. That's kind of interesting. And then today's build actually has a pretty major improvement to the Your Phone app, which I would imagine few people use, and 100% of them are Android users. And that includes a new, a new calling experience. That's the window that pops up when you're making a phone call.
So can I ask you a question about that? Is that a new experience, or is it just like new Fluent design?
Yeah, it's a new design. The call experience existed in Your Phone previously. It's been updated. Right. In fact, the only meaningful updates in this new build are actually related to bringing things that already exist in Windows forward so that they look more native in Windows 11. They're like hardware status indicators, for example. Like if you change the volume or you change the brightness of your screen or whatever, they're going to come up in the middle of the screen right over the taskbar now, and it looks like normal in Windows 11.
So many people are so excited by that, and I'm like, if you ask me what the volume indicator looks like on Windows, I have no idea. No.
Yeah, and in Windows 11, they made it a little weirder because it's the network connectivity icon, the volume icon, and the power icon. If you normal click, like left click any of those, you get the same UI. It's one UI, right? Quick settings, I think it's called. And if you right-click any of them, you actually get a different little UI for each one, which sort of makes sense. And then if you mouse over them, you get a little flyout text. I don't know what I guess a shortcut, I don't know what it is, but that is related just to that one thing. So it's like 3 things that could do a total of 9 different things. But they only do 7 different things, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's very strange. Simplified.
Yeah. I keep seeing people ask members of the Windows team on Twitter, like, why did you guys do blah? And there's never an answer, really. You know, like why did you take away the options that were right click on the taskbar? There's never like a real answer or a good.
I think it's just simplification, right? When you think about where this UI would have landed originally in Windows 10X, which was originally designed for devices, not PCs, that kind of simplification makes sense. Right? It's, if you think about it running like on top of Android or something. Yeah. But they put it on full Windows and they still kept it really simple. It's like, but full Windows, we expect the full power of the PC. We get, we're used to doing these things. We have muscle memory. So, anytime you simplify a UI that lots of people use for many years, that's what's going to happen. You're going to hear from every single person that use every single feature that maybe 90% of people don't even know exist or never use. And that's what happens. That's always been that's been the trouble with Windows all along, forever.
It is. I know it is. It is because if you have a huge base with all different needs, like the enterprise people are just like, I don't really care what it looks like. Just make it work, right?
Well, they only care if they have to answer support calls about it, right? Which is one of the big problems when they change the UI.
Yeah. So far as we move towards the one and only feature update of the year, and which we think is going to be like October, probably. There hasn't been anything big, and that's kind of typical, right? Like we're still in early phase of that, so it's not that weird that there's nothing big. And maybe there's going to be a case where there is nothing big, right? Like the biggest thing might be the ability to move the taskbar to the side or something like that.
Well, Android apps would be the big one, I think. But I think a lot of it is just fit and finish stuff because
Same.
I sometimes throw these like phrases out as if they mean something, or if I know explicitly that this is true, and I don't. But my understanding, and this is just based on a very high level understanding, is that the taskbar in Windows 11 is not the taskbar from Windows 10 that's been simplified. It's a new taskbar, and they've only implemented some of the features, right? So, it might be written in a more modern framework, or I literally have no idea, but I think part of what happened when we lost features wasn't that they deleted lines of code. I think they re-implemented it and just did part of it, which is, it's like my Notepad application. I mean, look, I can write something that's sort of like the original but doesn't do everything. I mean, but Microsoft is a, what are they, a 1.5 or I guess a $2.5 trillion company or whatever. You would think they could recreate their old features in it using a new version of the software, but I think we're going to get some of that back.
Yeah, like we said last week, I think they were on a trajectory to release Windows 10X, and they were putting everything into that, right? Then they decided to table Windows 10X, and it was like, okay, what can we take from 10X and make into this new thing like in 6 months, right? And this is our features.
But not to beat the dead horse, but we already asked the logical question, like why? Yeah. Like why did that have to happen so quickly?
Right. Right.
No idea.
Marketing is always the answer.
Well, yeah. So why did Microsoft release Windows Millennium Edition, right? I mean, originally they were going to combine 9X and NT into one product called Windows 2000, and they didn't make it. And so they had a holiday season where they didn't have a version of Windows to sell when they had a new version of Windows each of the previous 4 years or whatever it was. Yeah. So they put out this thing that nobody liked.
You know, it's so funny. I saw you're redoing the look back at versions of Windows, and I remember when they released Windows Me because it was such a low key weird release. And I went to the Roosevelt Mall.
I was wondering if you're gonna. Yep, that's right.
Right, and I'm like, that's where they're launching it in New York City. Like, you have to go out to this mall in the suburbs, and then you just went into the store, and it was like, haha, it's the launch. And I'm like, really? Is this really How
They
we're
did a
doing
tour
Windows
of
8?
20-something malls around the United States. That's right. I went to the one in Manchester, New Hampshire, if I remember correctly. Or no, somewhere north of Massachusetts, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, just goofy. We went from worldwide explosion with Windows 95 to Midnight Madness events for Windows 98 to we're driving around in a truck and we're going to malls like Tiffany did in the 1980s, Like, okay.
Yep.
So, yeah.
You got to go where the people are.
They've tried it all. They've tried.
They should do
every
that for
way
Windows
to
11
do
today. Go to the malls,
Yeah.
They could do it in the parking lot because none of them are
I
open
bet they
anymore.
do something like that. I really do. I feel like they must do something like that.
Remember they did the Mojave project for Windows Vista in the parking
Yeah.
lot of, I think it was Best Buy's,
Yeah.
to show off what they were showing off was Windows Vista, but they were pretending it was some future version, and everyone loved it.
I still think
They
that
all
was
knew
one
they
of the
hated Vista.
smartest ideas.
Yep.
I still think that was one of the best things they ever did.
Yep. I agree. It was good.
So,
Yes, bring it back.
Yeah.
Let's reel back the years here. Windows 11. Okay, what else?
Not much new yet. Not much new
No.
yet.
Two minor things. So if you don't like the Windows 11 start menu, and it seems like a lot of people don't, Start 11 is out from Stardock, as we all know. They just released today version 1.1 of that. And I think the big marquee feature for this release is folder support. So that works in both the Windows 10 and Windows 11 versions of the start menu. Folders is one of the things they did not add to the start menu in Windows 11. So
it's like folders in your recents or
just in the apps list, so you can have folders full of app icons.
Organize them. Yeah.
It's done really nicely, and if you're installing it clean on Windows 10 for the first time, it will actually bring in whatever folders you had from the original start menu, which is really nice. Windows 11 doesn't have folders, so they can't do it there. So $5.99. It's worth it, if you don't like the aggravation of the start menu. It looks just like the start menu, but with extra stuff. And it has the right-click stuff on the taskbar and all that, too. So it fixes a lot of problems. It'd be nice if Microsoft fixed their own problems, but, whatever. The other one, I should have done this. I think I originally did this as a tip, but a month or so ago or a few weeks back, Microsoft previewed a new media player application for Windows 11 because God knows we need more of those. And it was really clear from the screenshots they provided that it was the Groove app, right, which is the music app. And the Groove app came up out of, I think what at the time was called the Xbox Music app in Windows 8. And then it became Groove, and they added Groove Music Pass, remember the subscription service. And it was, as we moved into Windows 10, I would say the one built-in UWP app that was actually really kind of awesome and full featured. Like UWP really worked well for that kind of media application. But then Microsoft killed the Music Pass stuff. They also killed some really awesome functionality where it would play music off of your OneDrive automatically. I mean, there's ways around that, but that was kind of a neat feature. And it's by the end of the run there, in fact, it's still, if you have Windows 11, you can still see it. Basically, it's just a way to play music you might have on your computer, and there's an advertisement for Spotify in it, which is kind of junky, I always thought. Mm-hmm. So the new media player app will do music and videos. So again, it's just local playback. It's no big deal. But I have an article that links to a GHacks article that explains how you can install it today if you want to for some reason. Honestly, I can't think of many reasons why most people would ever want this, but it's a very basic app, Yeah. But it's there if you want it. And it'll be there soon if Microsoft ever updates Windows 11. Everybody else.
You know what's kind of odd about some of these apps, like this music app, the Photos app, the new Paint app. It feels almost like Windows 11 itself. They're kind of going backwards in the name of simplification, and they're dumbing them all down. I was
curious how you were going to say that. I would have said it a little more cynically. Like, it appears that they're created by college interns who just went back to school, and no one knows even how to update them anymore. They're not very well done. The Paint app, which I rely on, doesn't support dark mode. So if you're in dark mode, it's like it's not just light, it's white. Like, it's the whitest white. And the menus are different. It doesn't really have a tab, or what do you call it, like a tab ribbon interface like it used to have. But That's okay, but you can't do basic shortcuts like file save as. Those all were very easy to do in the older Paint, and now they're either impossible or semi-impossible, depending on whether you've already saved it. But that kind of stinks. The Notepad app I think is going to be okay whenever that comes down the pike. This app is fine. It's just non-essential. It's just like, okay, great. But these things are so small. They feel like things that should have made it in the 1.0 release, except that the 1.0 release was tested publicly for 3 months. If they had done like a full year of development, these things would have appeared over time like they are now. That would have seemed normal. And then in October 2022, Windows 11 would have shipped with the expected, slate of updated applications. And that would have been normal and fine.
Yeah, right.
But Windows 11 today is very, very incomplete.
As Micah Sargent's really kind of getting on the Windows bandwagon, he reminds you that Spotify
I knew he was a good guy.
Is not an ad, it's a placement. So just a little clarification there. Maybe it's just to let you know that it can play Spotify. I mean, that's a...
No, it's there because Microsoft struck a deal with Spotify when they got rid of Groove Music Pass to move temporarily, by the way. You can't even do this anymore. Well, I guess no one has these things anyway, but I think there was a process whereby you could move your playlist over and go to Spotify, which is fine, But I had talked to them at the time, and I said, you guys, if you're going to do this, you got to make Spotify add that OneDrive functionality, because one of the big weak links to Spotify is the ability to easily use your own music with the service. You can kind of do it on a device-by-device basis, but it's not very seamless. And if we could just put our music in OneDrive and then access OneDrive as well as Spotify's music collection, that would be great. And that would still be great, but we can't, so whatever. It was kind of a one-way deal, I think.
Yeah. Shall we, let me take a break and then let's talk about AR, because Microsoft...
I can't believe this is the next thing.
All right, and you know what? Okay, but you're gonna be very interested when I tell you why it's the next thing.
Oh, you see? Good tease.
Okay.
Good tease. She knows what she's doing. Our show today brought to you... We got a brand new sponsor. I thought I'd introduce you guys. I'm pretty sure know New Relic. I know our audience is very familiar with New Relic. It is a way to kind of keep an eye on your entire stack and know when something's going wrong, exactly what went wrong and how to fix it. If you're responsible, if you're a sysadmin, IT guru, software engineer, and you're responsible for the behavior of your software, of your stack, you get that call in the middle of the night saying the system is down, the network is down, the app is down. It can be like a fire drill, it can be a scramble. You're running around, is it the back end? Is it the front end? Is it global? Is it the server? Is it your database? Is it the network? Is it the cloud provider? It's kind of crazy, right? And it's so easy to, we've all had this happen, and you start, banging your head against the wall saying, what did I do? What did I do? What did I do? The whole team's scrambling, trying all different tools, messaging person after person to find and fix the issue and hope you fix it before the boss finds out. Then you get the phone ringing at 3:30 a.m. and it's the boss, and well, I don't have to go on. You know this nightmare. That's why you want New Relic. And I think the New Relic gets into many organizations because their free tier means engineers just go, I don't want that call. I want to implement this and I can do it now. Their APM they have 16 different monitoring products. Normally, you'd buy them onesie, twosie. With New Relic, you get it all. It lets your engineering team, your network, everybody see the entire software stack in one place and know what's going on. Their APM, for instance, their application monitoring, you put it in the app. It has unified monitoring for apps, microservices. It will tell you, oh, yeah, you got a slow-running query right here. Or, yeah, this broke. Did you just push a broken, yes, a little buggy something, yes. And then you fix it. And so instead of running around, waiting for the call from the boss, going crazy, calling everybody, you just fix it. And you're back to bed. Do you use Kubernetes? Are you doing clusters? Pixie? is awesome, gives you instant Kubernetes observability. They have distributed tracing. You can see all your traces without management headaches. You can find and fix issues fast. Network performance monitoring, of course. Stop guessing where the performance issues start. Ditch data silos for a system-wide correlated view. I think that's really the point, is that one tool tells you what's going on everywhere. And that's just a few. That's just, 4 of the 16 different monitoring tools. According to New Relic, only half of all organizations are implementing observability for their networks and systems. The rest are just in the fog of war. The report showed how maintaining network observability is a big issue for companies all around the world. And why? Because it's so easy to solve. You can pinpoint issues down to the line of code, so you know exactly why the problem happened. You can fix it quickly, push the fix, and you're back to bed. That's why the devs and ops teams at companies like DoorDash and GitHub and Epic Games and more than 14,000 other companies use New Relic to debug and improve their software. And you can just start using it now for free. No credit card required. You don't have to get the boss to sign off on it. Whether you run a cloud-native startup or a Fortune 500 company, it takes you 5 minutes to set up New Relic, and it makes such a difference. You know that next middle-of-the-night call is just around the corner. Get New Relic before it happens. You can get access to the entire platform, all the tools, and 100 gigabytes of data free forever. No credit card required. I think that's really how people discover New Relic, because, wow, I can just do this and it's free and I don't even have to give them a credit card. Awesome. Sign up at newrelic.com/Windows. At least, try it today. NEWRELIC, newrelic.com/Windows. It's a no-brainer, if you ask me. Give them a try. newrelic.com/Windows. We welcome them to Windows Weekly. Now back to the show and AR, VR. So why am I excited about this, Mary Jo? Why?
Okay. So there have been a lot of stories in various news outlets over the past week or two that touch indirectly and directly on what Microsoft has done and is doing in AR and VR. So I don't know if you saw the Wall Street Journal story this week. I think it was this week. Around 100 Microsoft HoloLens folks have gone and joined Meta. Then there was a story the week before from the information. Meta has canceled its big extended reality operating system. So it was trying to do kind of what Microsoft did years ago with Midori, build an OS from scratch for AR and XR. By the way, Meta disputed that story and said it was wrong. In fact, it was our old friend Gabe All, who used to work at Microsoft.
Yeah, that's right, because
Windows.
he went to Facebook, that bastard.
He did. Went to Facebook, started working on the Oculus, right? And then he was the one who gave the quote to various news outlets saying, yeah, that story's not completely right. That whole thing about us canceling the operating system. We're still doing that, by the way. That's what Gabe said.
They also poached people from Apple, by the way, didn't they?
Yeah,
Meta?
Yeah. So, who else? Yeah, Meta's poached a bunch of people, right? And then...
Yeah, what price your soul that you have to go to Meta?
Well, then, what's his name? Mark Lukowski was working at Facebook, right, on this project also. So Mark Lukowski, for people who don't know, he was on the original Windows team way, way back when. Right. And now he's joined Google to work on their augmented reality, mixed reality project because he said publicly, I can't stomach Meta. I don't like anything they're doing publicly, and I'm out. I'm done, right?
That
and then
sounds
today,
like
today, Magic Leap, who is headed by Peggy Johnson, who used to work at Microsoft.
They're still around.
They're still around, and they're doing what Microsoft did. They're saying, we're going to refocus our headset on the enterprise. Surprise.
Oh, geez, not on education or
games.
Right, enterprise. Yep. So the reason I started looking into all of this and started getting more interested was my old friend and Paul's old friend, Don Box. He left Microsoft last year and wouldn't say where he was going. And then we found out he went to Meta when it was still called Facebook, right? But he didn't say what he was working on. So I kept watching his LinkedIn profile. I'm like, he's going to post this at some point, right? So finally, he posts, "I'm working on the XR operating system at Meta," which is
So
their
Not
do
anymore.
are you friends with him on Facebook? Don
Yes.
Box. So you must have seen his 117 posts about MacBook Pro and,
I did.
blah, 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 whatever.
How much he loves it?
Yeah, he does love it.
Yeah.
Don Box
love it.
is a genius.
Well.
I just straight up is a
there you
genius.
go.
No, he is a genius. He
But
is
not everyone's perfect. Let's just say that.
No. Well, no. But look, when you are no,
We now have to
people-
suspect some of his intelligence.
No, that's like saying
do.
Larry Bird
You
or
do.
Magic John or Michael Jordan were terrible human beings. Yeah, of course they were. They were too good at this other thing.
Yeah.
you know.
Oh, I get
You
it.
have to.
Yeah.
It has to give and take. So he works for Meta, but no, but he's a great guy, and
But
he
didn't
is.
Meta
like I said,
kill this VR operating
So
system?
So supposedly
we don't
no.
know. Right.
Because that
We
was
don't
the
know.
news of last week.
That was what the information reported,
Right.
saying
So I
they,
didn't know-
they had
I
two
didn't know that.
sources.
300 engineers off the job.
This is an incredible
we don't
number of
know.
ex-Microsoft employees,
It is.
and
Okay, so
pretty
here's
notable
why. Here's
ex-Microsoft
why.
employees too, by the way.
Right. There's many reasons why this is happening, right? Okay. So first, the official reason is right now, if you know about augmented reality, extended reality, the metaverse, any of that stuff, you can command a huge salary, right? So if you're Don Box, you're Gabe All, you're already super rich. You've been working at Microsoft forever, right? Like you have multiple cars, multiple MacBooks, whatever you like, whatever your poison is, right? Okay. But then Meta comes along. And they're like, "Hey, want to double, triple your salary? Come work with us on this extended reality OS thing. It's going to be fun. It's going to be cool. Sure, okay, right." So it's about money. It's also about your colleagues. So Gabe All's over there. Don Box is over there. Then I started looking on LinkedIn. Who else from Microsoft is over there? And I was finding so many people, right? Like, here's one guy, Carlos Perez Nefarnte, who was the lead software manager on the Duo. He's there. John Elliott, principal software architect on the Surface Duo until June when he joined the same team that Don Box is on. Matt Beaver, 11-year Microsoft veteran, was working on the Microsoft Bluetooth core stack, now joining the XROS team at Meta. So they're all pulling in all their friends and the people they know how to build an operating system, right? And they're like, "Come work with us over here."
This is a troubling new era. Not for a long time, the majority of high-profile Microsoft evacuees ended up at Amazon, right?
Right.
That was something that went on for over a decade. This is an incredible group of people.
It is.
It does kind of explain why Apple just started giving its engineering team $180,000
Yes.
bonuses,
Yep.
not
Exactly.
to go to Meta.
That's right.
Clearly,
That's
Meta's staffing up.
They are. And that's why
incredible.
I'm a little bit suspicious on that information story. The information does great work and they have great sources. But I'm like, you know what? The way Gabe All answered that makes me think they may have killed some part of the project, but the project is going on.
Or maybe
Right?
it was disinformation.
It could be.
They should
right?
call
Pardon
it
the pun.
the disinformation now.
Wow.
Whoa. No, what? I mean, usually if you parse the way people answer these kind of stories when they're denying them, you look and it's like, we're not completely denying it, right? But we're denying that it's as severe.
There's
as
the
they say.
non-denial denial.
Exactly.
Yeah, and
Well,
you're good at this. This is your
Microsoft
skill.
hasn't killed Windows 10X,
Right.
according to the official company line.
Right. Okay, here's another reason all these Microsoft people are going to Facebook. The part of Facebook, Meta, that's working on this operating system that they're building from scratch, if it still is a project, is called Facebook Reality Labs Research. You know where one of their main outposts is? Redmond, Washington.
I was going to say it has to be Redmond.
Washington.
Right.
So, okay, you're working at Microsoft. You're like, you know what? I like my job. I'm kind of bored.
So-
Who else is in Redmond? Oh, these guys.
This is all right. So tech companies have always done this kind of thing. Microsoft has always had offices in Silicon Valley, which a lot of people probably don't know about.
Yeah.
Google has opened offices in the Seattle, Redmond area. Well, Nintendo's been there forever, but this is you can't always get people to move, right? I guess these days, but it's probably harder than ever. So you go to where they are clustered already,
Exactly.
and they're clustered in Redmond.
Yep.
Which is, and that's why Amazon was such an easy target for those folks because it's right across the lake from Redmond.
Yeah, and think about it. If you're Don Box, who his last job at Microsoft was working on mixed reality, he worked with Alex Kipman there and was doing a lot of things around how they were building out the HoloLens and the mixed reality platform. If you're somebody who's like him or a lot of these other people who I just mentioned, and Microsoft's focus right now is all about the enterprise and about the army and getting the HoloLens in those markets, but you care about consumer stuff, where are you going to go? You're going to go to Meta, right? That's where you're going to go.
This is very troubling.
This is for sure. Like that 100-person story from the Journal, I have no doubts on that story. I would bet it's more than 100 people have gone from Microsoft to Meta. I would bet
this is a real gut check moment for people because my reactions, like Facebook comes to me for no reason I can imagine, but says, hey, we'd like to hire you for whatever reason. I'm like, yeah, there's no way I'm working at Facebook, Meta, whatever. And they're like, yeah, but we're going to give you like $2 million.
Right.
I'd be like, oh, okay. So what day do you want me to start? You know, like, I mean, at some point, it's like foolish not to do this.
Right. So here's the sentence Gabe all gave out as their sentence. So you read into this what you want. There are several technical directions we are pursuing in our efforts to build reality lab operating systems, plural. Mm-hmm. We are still working on a highly specialized OS for our devices. That's what all these people are working on, right? Whatever you want to call it, that's what they're working on.
Just to be clear, Don Box is calm. He is .NET. This guy used to stand on stage at PDC and write code in real time with Anders Heilsberg, Chris Anderson, Chris Sells probably. I mean, this is he's one of the smartest people that's ever gone
Then he
through
moved to work on Xbox. I think he was working with Cutler probably on the
containerized operating system stuff. Yep, of course. Yep.
Right. So now
Mark Lakowski he's the guy Dave Cutler would have said is the only person on the original NT team who actually understood all of the construction of NT, including the kernel. Even Dave Cutler didn't claim to understand that. Yeah. But that's how smart that guy was. And that's incredible.
Yeah. So they're all at Meta now. And so far, since the information story came out saying, that project's canceled, I've been watching LinkedIn to see if anybody else is quitting. Nobody else has quit so far, or at least hasn't posted that they quit. So that makes me think we're still working on something, right? Yeah.
Who's left at Microsoft in this field?
The original Windows team and the original COM and .NET team. I mean, Anders still works at Microsoft. Anders still works at Microsoft, right?
Guys like Scott Guthrie is still there. That guy,
Rusenovich, still there.
It was a key player in .NET.
All these guys.
So just when the last person leaves, just turn out the lights and
exactly.
No, my point is that a lot of people have defected, and some may come back, some may not come back. Some may go on to other companies, Apple, Google, whoever is next, and building some OS for the metaverse. But you know what? This happens a lot. Like, people get dissatisfied, they move on. Sometimes they come back. Remember when everybody started coming back to Microsoft who quit when Nadella became the CEO? Tons of people came back. So, let's see what happens. I don't think it's like anything dire.
I think these guys,
Windows
they get bored. They're so far into their career. They've had so many successes. The stuff they care about the most is not the big thing at Microsoft today.
Right. Yeah.
I think we can all relate to that. Honestly.
Yeah. Everybody, who doesn't get bored, right? Like, people want to expand their horizons.
You see
try new things.
The Ben Slivka thing where he suggested that Microsoft should spin off Windows and Office because they're just a cloud company now. And that's super provocative. It's ridiculous.
It is.
But there is a part of me as kind of an enthusiast of that part of the company that I do feel gets not a lot of attention these days. Yeah. Thinking to myself, maybe. I mean, I would like, Microsoft used to be the company that only cared about Windows.
Right.
Now Microsoft appears to be the company that only cares about everything but Windows.
Yeah, so right now, for people who don't know, we're talking about a story on Geek. It was on CNBC where they interviewed a long time. He left Microsoft years ago. Ben Slivka, he was pretty important back in the Internet Explorer day and all. So he was quoted saying, "I think what Microsoft should do is spin out Windows and Office." So to me, when I read that, I'm like, maybe Windows, but not Office. Right. Like, because Office fits in with what they're doing with Microsoft 365 and Teams and all that. And I'm like, Windows is kind of the odd one out of that of that trio, right?
Yeah, it's the
More
one
than Office.
legacy Microsoft product, successful legacy Microsoft product that doesn't lend itself to the cloud. Office was the poster child. They were able to do that first. Even Xbox makes sense in the cloud. Another product people have argued should have been spun out of Microsoft.
Yeah.
And
But
Windows, not so much.
No, but now with them doing things like Windows 365, which is the cloud PC thing, and they're virtualizing your Windows 10, Windows
You
11.
can virtualize
That
Windows in
makes-
AWS. I mean, why? Who cares?
can.
I mean, they
You
could
can,
still
but
do
I-
it in Azure, if
No, but I feel like you still want to keep that around. And the whole idea of having, a lot of the Microsoft 365 SKUs now have Windows in them. So they're not going to just be like, let's throw Windows over there and do something else over here.
Yeah,
I just don't
mean,
think it makes sense.
Sure.
And I don't think you can separate it that way.
I agree with you mostly, but there's a part of me that kind of hears that and thinks, I know he did this to be provocative. This was a headline maker. That's all it was. Wasn't he like one of his personal assistant guys, like Sinofsky used to be? Wasn't he that kind of person?
Yeah.
At one point?
He's done a lot of Ben Slivka. I
Yeah,
don't
I
think
think
I
so.
ever interviewed Ben Slivka, but he was pretty instrumental at Microsoft.
Yeah. Back in the
So now he's like, investing in startups, angel investor, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So let's see,
Does he want to run the new
14
Windows
years.
Corporation?
14 years. He started working on OS2, MS-DOS 6, Windows 95, Java, and MSN. Okay. And then he worked on, he's credited with, on his bio at least, creating the Internet Explorer team. He did a lot of very instrumental things.
Yes. I'm sorry. I was thinking he might have been the person that wrote the original warning to Gates and the executives about the internet, and he was ignored. I still think he might be. I think
That was Sinofsky.
Yeah.
That was Sinofsky.
Yeah.
No. I think
Was
it was.
it?
I think Ben Slivka.
Oh
You do?
man, that's a great anecdote, and I'm trying to remember.
Yeah,
somebody
he was the
wrote.
one-
I
I
thought it was
think-
maybe Ray Ozzie or somebody.
It was not Sinofsky. It wasn't.
No,
Ray
maybe
Ozzie.
It wasn't
Ozzie.
Ray Ozzie. No,
Okay.
that was he came much later.
Hey Google, who told Bill Gates about the internet?
I think it was Sinofsky, guys.
No, it wasn't.
All right, well, let's see what Google says. According to David Letterman,
Yes, he wrote. Yes, Ben
That's who
Slivka
I
wrote the
wanna
memo.
listen to.
Ben wrote the memo because there was a famous memo. Yeah,
The web is the next platform.
that's right. Okay.
It was him?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. I thought so.
Look at you. Get on Windows
Well,
Jeopardy.
it's funny because we were talking about the road ahead last week.
Yeah.
Where he came around.
Yeah. So eventually, Gates wrote his own memo,
Yeah.
Yeah, very famous memo. Yeah.
the Internet Tidal Wave, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's pretty clear. Like, it's clear Gates did not get this at first, right?
No, he missed it. He was very
He admitted
open
it.
about the fact that he did.
yeah,
He
yeah,
said,
yeah.
I missed it. Yeah.
But man, did he embrace it when he got it? There was a couple of little trials you may have heard of that came out of that, but
Yeah.
yeah, he turned that ship around. Anyway, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, that's why I wanted to bring this up, because there's a lot of things happening in this space. Even whatever you think of HoloLens and what Microsoft's doing there, and how far away their next project is for lighter weight glasses. There's a lot of other things happening around the periphery of this that I think we got to pay attention to as Microsoft watchers and Windows watchers.
Yeah, the problem with AR, or whatever you want to call it these days, is that
Yeah.
it's always seemed like flying cars. It's like this thing we all accept this will happen. There will be this meshing of reality, real reality, and then this art, and we've seen little versions of it, Pokemon Go, and the thing where remember Nokia had a map app you could walk around and it would show you what all the businesses were, and now that's just a feature of Google Maps or whatever. But the seamless, you're out in the world and you're wearing contacts maybe or glasses or whatever, is still a little bit out there, and I think it just feels like science fiction. He says, as a Tesla drives itself by my house. But, it will happen, obviously. I guess the question now, Microsoft, Terry Myerson made the argument that maybe this was the next platform, right? When he was running the Windows team. That's part of the reason Microsoft invested so heavily in it, in Windows Mixed Reality or whatever. But, yeah, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
It still feels like it's not quite there yet,
It does not. I mean, especially when you use the HoloLens. Like, there's so many gee whiz things about the HoloLens, but also then you come back to, like, really? Like, this is where we're at now, right?
Right. Not that there aren't neat things, but I bring this up all the time. The simplest, it would be a VR application, actually not AR, but put a headset over my head, and I'm sitting in a cafe in Paris. People are coming in and going, ordering things. Glasses are clinking, and music is playing maybe or whatever. And if you put a cup of coffee in my face in front of me in real life, I would think I was there. There's no doubt about it. Like this is possible, and probably there is something like this today. I would be happy with just that. I don't have to walk around and be in Paris. I just sit in a place and have it be like I'm there, or any other place on Earth, whatever. It doesn't matter where it is. But I think stuff like that would be really cool. But we still, it still seems kind of.
Yeah. We're getting there. We're getting there slowly.
Okay. I'm believing. I'm a believer now. Actually, I'm not. I'm totally skeptical.
I'm not either.
But
But hearing those names
big name people, yeah.
They're not just like famous people. I don't think the wider world anyone would know. But these are actually like smart people, like really smart
people. Right, people who know how to build operating systems, right? That's the key there, right? There are people who know how to do that.
So, it's good. Actually, I'm actually glad we had this little talk. Because, I was buying the Information's story, and we reported it last week.
You know what? I'm sure there are parts of that story that are 100% true. And maybe what they're doing is just I think the Information said they may just base it on Android and build proprietary layers on top. That might be what they're doing, right? And then they can deny the report as being true. So.
Yeah. Doesn't seem like something Facebook would want to do, though, but...
I know. You wouldn't think so, right?
Because that's how the Oculus Quest works. I mean, it is. That's how it is right now.
Right. And my guess, because Gabe all answered in the plural when he did that. This is me putting my journalist hat on, right? When I saw that quote, I said, "There's more than one operating project."
Say the quote again. Say the quote again.
Yeah. So the quote is. Hold on. Let me call it back up here.
Let's all
call it my trusty notepad. So he instead of saying like it was one thing, Gabe all said, there are several technical directions we are pursuing in our efforts to build Reality Labs operating systems, plural.
Okay. Well, let's stop there for a second, because that could be very simple, this thing these things will run on multiple hardware platforms, like they have their own Oculus thing, but maybe it's a software thing that runs elsewhere, or they'll integrate with whatever Apple has, or that might be just that simple.
Well, go ahead.
Part two of the quote: we are still working on a highly specialized OS for our devices.
Okay, so that's not Android. Yeah, I can see the plural because they are using Android for the Oculus Quest, so there are two. But that's a pretty affirmative denial. That's saying, no, we're working on something.
I think it is too.
For their devices.
But, right. It says
you actually think this is like a brand new thing that has nothing to do with Android or anything else?
Yes, that was the story. It
sounds crazy. But remember Midori at Microsoft and Fuchsia at Google. You can build an OS that isn't based on your existing flagship product. You can do it. Right.
No, of course.
Where did I'm actually curious. Where did this start? Was Microsoft the first with HoloLens? Google Glass maybe predated it, but it's not really AR.
AR was HoloLens. HoloLens was first.
HoloLens was the first mixed reality. I mean, VR's been around since the early 90s. I remember doing a VR thing in 92.
I just thought, it's funny this is coming up now. I just thought of this. Mary Jo, we always reference this January 2015, January 2015 event we went to up in Redmond, where they showed off HoloLens for the first time, among other things. I think it was that event. It doesn't matter when whatever that event was, we were in the audience.
I remember it vividly, yeah.
And the way it was building was, it was very clear they were going to do some kind of a VR, AR thing. And I thought, as it was starting, that the way they were going to do it was that they were going to project things into the room in real time using cameras or whatever, sensors or whatever, all over the room.
That's because they showed that video, right? That gaming video.
I kept looking on the stage to see if I could see where there were little nodes everywhere. And then when they finally revealed that it was a helmet thing you had to put on your head, I was like, oh, well, that's too bad. Because in a way, I still think that kind of thing would be neat because, I mean, how does just entertainment evolve, right? Are my wife and I going to sit in my living room in front of an Apple TV, both of us with Apple headphones on, listening to spatial audio that way? Are we going to sit in the same room or in different rooms, I guess, and both have like AR helmets on as we watch some, I mean, I guess so, right? Like that's certainly possible, and people do some of that today, of course. But like, ideally, the mixing of real reality and artificial reality should happen without those things in the way. And I don't know, maybe contacts would do it, but isn't there a way to do it in space so that we can all be in the room and enjoy it from different angles? Or I don't know. I from that moment, HoloLens almost disappointed me because I thought that's what it was and it wasn't.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
They mixed in a lot of aspirational videos with things that they knew they could actually do, right?
Of course.
So remember the holoportation video we saw where it was like salespeople collaborating in a space? And there was a guy with a regular VR headset. There was a woman with a HoloLens type headset. And they were talking together, right? And seeing the same thing, but using different devices. So that's something they're still trying to make real with all the things they're doing with the Microsoft Mesh platform, but they still haven't really made that happen, right? Like there's bits and pieces of that happen, but mostly not happened yet. So
it's fine for there to be multiple ways to do these things, right?
Yeah.
I always liked the notion of a car designer using a HoloLens to create a design in space, and then people walking around it virtually wearing mixed reality headsets because they don't have to create it. All they have to do is see it. And like, to me, that's fine. Like, this is something that might have happened in a design center in the past, and the guy would have built like a clay model that would have been the size of an elephant or something. And this is obviously more efficient, and that's cool. But I mean, are we going to go to a movie theater and every single person's going to be wearing a helmet? And I mean, maybe. It's just,
it might be.
But it just seems like there's room for a lot of different approaches, and that some of these more like they're so busy trying to build interactive social events in some metaverse. When I don't know. I feel like there's a mixture that can happen. Like you have a live event where some of us go and some of us don't, but the people who don't go physically are there virtually, and you can see them like little Obi-Wan Kenobi ghost over in the corner, being projected into the room, and it's like they're there.
Right.
I don't know. I think that would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
And of course, there's always a possibility that this is just Silicon Valley's idea of what somebody wants, and nobody wants it, and then it doesn't go anywhere. And I mean, some of this is follow the leader, right? I mean, Apple's doing it, Microsoft's doing it, we got Facebook's doing it. It must be real.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that people want it.
No.
I mean, I think Magic Leap's smart because there are definitely industrial and enterprise applications for it.
Right.
So that's, but I don't know if there's the metaverse notion. Nobody wants to wear this on their head, really? Do they?
Right.
No.
Right.
Unless they're glasses like these.
How do you guys like wearing masks?
Point, right?
Yeah.
Do people enjoy wearing masks
about
today?
masks
With their everyone who has glasses, tell me what the experience is like wearing a mask.
Yeah.
You don't want to even do that.
Yeah. Right.
You're going to put this Darth Vader thing on your head so you can sit in a Paris cafe and enjoy some coffee?
That's why I do agree with you, Paul. Your notion of somehow this, deviceless room projection.
Yeah, like an Internet of Things solution, right? Where you have little sensors and nodes and cameras and whatever else. Yeah. I guess projectors, essentially.
Yeah, they showed a video of that exact scenario when we first saw the HoloLens, and it never
happened.
Oh, I was so excited for that, and then the guy walked out like in a Darth Vader thing, and I was like, I'm not sure I understand what's happening here. And then we found out later the view rate just like this
is a mail slot.
You can see like a
This is on the one hand, people say, well, it's early days. Remember, the very first. I was watching I decided to watch Soylent Green because, it's supposed to take place in 2022, and I just wanted some idea of what
in
to
San
expect.
Francisco, right?
In San Francisco.
Yeah.
And it's widely considered the first appearance of a video game in a movie. Yeah. They had one of the old, it's kind of like a Space Wars game. It's a giant console. It's really cool. And so sometimes people say, well, we're in that stage of VR. I mean, you wouldn't compare what you're doing with Call of Duty to that old Space War game.
You know what, though? VR has been coming forever. And I'm not talking since 2000. I'm talking
30 years.
We talked about it in the 80s. We talked about it,
Jaron
like
Lanier
VR
was selling this hard in the early 90s. I remember going down to SIGGRAPH, and they had a giant $1 million computer, and you wore this thing that had a giant cable on your head. And you were riding it, and there was a saddle, and you were riding a pterodactyl.
That's awesome.
And it was amazing. And that was 1992. That's 30 years ago.
Sure.
And we've made very little progress, to be honest.
Yeah, it's weird how little progress we made. Exactly. Yeah.
The experience is the same. It's just that you can get something cheaper and lighter. But
guys, it's a hard computer science problem. Okay.
It is.
It is. Not even joking.
I think it's. I also wonder if it's a technology in search of an audience, and that
could be too.
Yeah,
that could be too.
I say that all the time.
Well, so we all think about it in terms of like consumer experiences, and you always hear like some people play games in these environments, some people enjoy educational things.
Georgia Dow has 4 VR rooms for her and her family. Yeah,
I did I'll call it a 10-minute VR thing. We went to see that Van Gogh experience thing that's touring around the country. It's fantastic.
Oh, you liked it? Okay, because I've read some
the
very negative reviews. Like you have to.
The Van Gogh thing is fantastic. Okay, but the end game is, well, optionally you can go do like a little VR experience, and I got queasy just in that.
Yeah.
It just flies you around, and it's like a pretend world where all of his paint, you can see like what he painted, and then his paintings appear over the real thing, whatever. And these VR headsets were unmarked. I suspect they were Oculus headsets, but I didn't know exactly what
they were. If they weren't wired, they almost certainly were. Yeah.
They Oculus. I would have been sick. Okay. I can't.
Oh no, I got queasy. Just 5 to 10 minutes, I was queasy.
Yeah.
And there's that problem to overcome. There's a lot of problems to overcome, but jokingly, it's a hard computer science problem. It is a hard computer science problem. It really is. But what you need are genius computer scientists who can solve that problem.
Well, they're working.
I don't know that they can solve the, will people actually need to want this stuff? But I mean, they certainly. I mean, I can't stand Facebook/Meta, but they are hiring the right talent.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's going to be something lighter, something maybe more like spectacles than like visors.
Yeah.
I think it's not going to be so much about gaming. I mean,
right.
I don't know.
Remember Nintendo, when the Wii came out, very briefly had a deal with Call of Duty. I think it was Call of Duty 3, where you could use the nunchuck thing to throw a grenade. So you're running around in the game.
Broke a lot of TV sets. Yep.
Yeah, because you threw a grenade at the TV.
Boom! Whoops! I let go. Yeah.
Yeah. And when you at the time, and this was a long time ago. I don't remember the year exactly. 2003, 2012, whenever that was. That was a long time ago. I thought, I guess 2006, 2007. But I thought that's actually it's kind of cool. You're turning like this sedentary activity into something more closely resembling the real event. But the reality is, pardon the pun, this kind of thing never really took off. And that was not a VR system, right? Obviously the Wii, but it had this kind of interactive physical component that, is a part of VR. They still, that's one of the things Microsoft found. This little pinch, nonsense is cool, but to get real fine grained control, you need something physical in your hand. And they created controllers, which we use now in Windows Mixed Reality, and Oculus has them, and all of these systems have that.
Yeah. Thank goodness, because I could never do any of those gestures. I'm always like, I don't know.
Here's my conspiracy theory.
Yes.
If you think about it, VR, in all the science fiction, in all the movies, it's always a world that you go to escape from your horrific dystopian reality, right?
Yep.
Always. Invariably.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think the companies, this is their plan for climate change. We're not going to fix the planet. Screw it. We'll give people something to do.
Right.
While the world burns. And it'll be
There you
beautiful in there. And, you don't have to notice the rising sea level.
You never have to go outside.
Never have to go outside. I mean, that's what Ready Player
go to the
was,
beaches
right?
of Thailand in the 1980s while the meteors come crashing down.
Exactly, yeah.
Around you.
Yeah. I don't know. That's kind of
I hope you're wrong.
That's
Leo.
a dark vision for it.
Very dark.
That sounds like a Netflix series.
Don't strap in. I'm just saying. Okay. We actually have had this conversation every month or two for the last 5, 6, maybe 10 years.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm always the naysayer. I'm just skeptical.
I'm very skeptical.
By the way, I think you guys are in the right place because we have tried the things that have come out, and I've wanted to believe that these could work and make sense. And every time I've been like, and I don't even remember any. What was before there was a HoloLens or any of that stuff? What was the big first kind of VR thing before Oculus, or what was it? There was some.
You mean
early
Google
thing.
Cardboard? Or
No, it was VR, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, there was someone had created like a.
Not the Rift? Before the Rift?
I think so. I don't remember. It doesn't really matter. It was a long time ago, but I tried some video game that was sort of like a Doom Unreal Tournament kind of a deal, and
instant nausea.
You can't.
Instant nausea. Yeah.
You cannot do it. Or you couldn't at the time.
So I think part of this is because it's so cool the first time you do it. You go, I love this. This is going to change the world. It's kind of like the Segway.
Yeah, I still think the Segway is cool, by the way. But
everybody who first tried the Segway said this is going to. Bill Gates said this is going to change the way cities are designed.
Yeah,
this is going to revolutionize mobility, and it didn't.
No, does Dean Kamen live in a cardboard box in San Francisco now?
No, he's doing fine. It's interesting. He's very smart. He designs his stuff, but never makes it. Licenses it to people, lets them lose their shirt on it, and goes on to something else. Okay. So he's got it down. He doesn't.
He's like the inventor dad from the Gremlins movie. He just kind of comes up with the ideas.
So he's doing fine.
That's good. Okay.
I have 2 Segways, I should point out, as well as a numerous VR headsets.
I think Segways are cool. I'm actually surprised.
I rode a Segway.
By the way, there are. Okay, hold on a second, guys. You understand there are scooters in every city on the earth now that you can rent.
Yeah.
You telling me those couldn't have been Segways? I mean,
well, there still are lots of Segway tours all over.
Yeah.
You look like a dork because you're 10 feet tall.
I think they're cool.
One
but
thing
that's a good way to
underestimated.
tour. That's how you want to tour a place,
This is
right?
exactly my point. Segways didn't go away. They didn't really fail. They just didn't take over the world.
Yeah.
And I think VR will be like that. I don't say VR is going to go away. People love it. A small portion. The Air Force, in early simulations, because they use simulators for pilots, in their early studies, said there is a intractable 11% of the population that will always get sick, and there's nothing you can do about it. And those 11% will always get sick. See, this is in contrast to what the industry says, which, it's just a frame rate issue, or we're going to fix that. It needs to be higher res.
You know what? If they can figure out a cross section of those people and the people who don't like cilantro, I think we have a we're onto
it may
something.
be related. I don't know.
But
11%.
You don't like cilantro, Paul? Really?
I love cilantro.
I do too.
Okay.
The three of us here do.
There is no such thing as too much cilantro.
But there is a gene that makes you think it tastes like soap.
There is.
In fact, 23andMe, when you send them your spit, will tell you if you have that gene.
Interesting. I know I don't.
I don't either. Love it.
I don't either. Yeah.
In fact, I could eat a big cilantro salad right now.
Put on your VR headset and pretend you're eating it in Paris.
Munch it. I'll be eating Soylent Green, but it'll seem like I'm eating cilantro in Paris.
Soylent Green is cilantro.
That will never seem like cilantro.
So do you think Microsoft will take the enterprise, business route, industrial route, and let Facebook take the consumer route? Or do you think they still entertain
I don't think
consumer?
let is. I think Facebook probably will just take it,
just
or
gonna
Apple
take it.
will, right? I mean, I think Apple's going.
Well, that's the that's the unknown in this is Apple.
No, Microsoft keeps saying they haven't given up on consumer, and
they don't have to. Consumers have given up on Microsoft. It doesn't matter what they do.
Yeah.
What's Microsoft going to? You think Microsoft has like a 2.0 consumer thing coming out in the future where it's like Teddy Ruxpin or something, and people care about them all of a sudden? I just don't see that happening.
What about China? What about, do you think they're working on this, or do they see this as capitalistic nonsense?
No, they're working on this for sure, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know. All right, moving.
Everybody thinks it's last thing. Everybody thinks it's the cornerstone of Web3, right? So
okay,
whatever you
don't get me
define
started on Web3. Okay, just don't get me started on Web3.
I am not a believer, but man, that is like
of course they do.
Reporters being hired.
Of course they do.
Reporters being hired whose beat is Web3. Like this is
the whole thing is driven by, particularly by Andreessen Horowitz.
It is.
It's BS, and it's just like everything else with the crypto. There's huge money in it. It's fundamentally a pyramid scheme. I don't buy it for a minute.
This is the ultimate culmination of like Silicon Valley bro culture.
Totally is. Totally.
No, then they mix in AR, VR, crypto,
might as well
blockchain, NFTs.
Mush
that's
it all
what people
together.
do, and they put it all together in like a blob.
Yep.
Blah. There it is. Web3.
It's all the new. It's the future. It's the future.
I mean, it might be the world's next great religion for all I know, but it's nonsense.
Yeah, I agree with both of you, but yeah, there it is.
And of course, the history is littered with people like us who didn't believe the next thing was going to be great.
Yep.
You know, so
I've made a career out of it.
That's
could be wrong. You know, if it was possible to be successful and rich doing that, it would be me.
Although, you know, you could really look at the latest history of Silicon Valley, things like self-driving cars, voice assistants, all of these technologies that were going to revolutionize the world, and are just stalled, you know.
Yep.
So I got to say, you know, going from Google to the iPhone, one of the things I've really noticed is that the voice thing on the iPhone is unbelievably terrible.
Yeah.
And it's especially good on the new Pixels. Like if you have a Pixel 6, that thing is magical. I'll just throw that out there. I don't know if it's the processor or just Google's really good at this stuff or whatever. But the Apple one's really bad. And sometimes it's fine, obviously. But sometimes you hit the microphone button, it does a little line thing like it goes beep, and you talk and it just doesn't do anything. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't do it poorly. It just doesn't do anything. And you know, that's the one thing I would say on the iPhone that's notably terrible.
I wonder if I'm unique in this respect. We have all of them: Echo, Siri, Google, and we have them throughout the house. And I have just become inured to the fact that no matter what we're doing, every once in a while, one of them will wake up and then
for no reason.
Make a noise. Sometimes they'll go on and on. There's one episode of one TV show we watch invariably triggers Google to go into a long screed.
Listen, anyone who's listening to this on an iPhone right now, I can trigger Siri immediately. Seriously, every time. Every time. Like, how do you make the name of an assistant be a word that I say every other sentence?
Yeah.
Like,
and I must be used to it because I was thinking about this. It would drive a normal person crazy that literally every 10 minutes.
I'm sorry, I don't understand it.
What?
And then you get mad at it, and it's like, you don't have to be a jerk.
It's just background noise now. It's just the new normal.
They're just waking up around. It's like a chorus of, voice assistants.
I'm like the guy in Blade Runner who had all his little robot machines. when he came home, they go, hello, hello, hello. Oh.
Yep. Oh, boy.
I think that's the new normal. But it may just be me because I'm certainly an early adopter of all this stuff. I fall. Yeah. Maybe that's why I'm so skeptical. I fall for every one of these. Every one of them every time.
For a while here in this house had several Google Assistant speakers and whatever. And I distinctly remember the day I got rid of every single one of them.
Maybe that's what I should.
Except for the smart display in the kitchen.
I love
just because it's a photo frame.
They're so useful. Yeah.
Here's what would happen.
It's like your idiot friend who just hangs out.
You're arguing with your brother-in-law, and then all of a sudden he goes, "Hey, go," whatever, and he's like, blah, 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 blah. And then like some device in some other room, not the one we're in front of, but somewhere else in my house, you hear the distant voice go, "The capital of Senegal is," or whatever, and it's like seriously. I can't see how often I see it.
Here he goes again.
Just think of all the random facts you're learning, though. How valuable that is.
Yes.
All right. I hate to change the subject, but we do need to talk about Microsoft 365.
We sure do.
What's up?
We can do it quickly.
No, don't speed through it. Take your time.
I'd like to know. I looked at your article about this. Where was this promoted or announced? I know you said it was in like the admin center or something.
Yeah.
Is that the only? They never like.
Nope.
No.
So we're talking about Microsoft making it so that you can chat between Teams Consumer and Teams for Business. Not call, just chat. Yeah, so it's in the admin center in Microsoft 365. Like, that's where I saw it pop up. And the reason it popped up this week was because they delayed the rollout of it. I didn't even know about a plan for this, but then I found an old, dating back to November, an item on the Microsoft 365 roadmap that mentioned this. So this is like how they federate. Remember when they federated Skype Consumer with Teams so that if you were on Skype Consumer, you could talk to somebody on Teams? This is them doing that for Teams Consumer and Teams Enterprise. And the full rollout of this is supposed to be done worldwide by the middle of this month. So that's like next week, right?
Right.
We'll see if it happens. It's for Teams on the web, Teams desktop, Teams mobile. If you're an admin and you want no parts of this for your users, you can shut it off. Yeah. I don't know how many people are going to use it because I don't know anyone using Teams Consumer still. I don't know anybody. I know there are people listening to the show who do, but like people in the world, in the real world, outside of our world, who use this. I don't know anyone.
Yeah, I can't think. I don't want to go too far down this rabbit hole, but it bothers me that there are people out there who are so in the Microsoft world that they're making their kids use this product. Because you know that happens. You know, it's something I might have done 20 years ago or whatever. But I don't know.
Yeah.
That's too bad.
I think it's interesting they are bringing chat. I would assume next would be calls, right? Starting with chat, then bring calls. Maybe at some point bring file sharing across the platforms. They're not giving up on Teams Consumer, but they've turned down the volume on pushing it a lot, even though the bar is still in Windows 11. But yeah.
Telemetry will show the most often turned off button in the default taskbar will probably be widgets actually, but then followed by Teams.
Yeah,
or chat or whatever they're calling it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So that's that item. If you have Microsoft 365 and you go in the admin center, you can probably see a listing about this if you want more information. Okay. Then the other one, this was a huge announcement from Microsoft today. Like all their teams were involved in this announcement, but I don't think there's a lot of there, to be very honest. Microsoft's been talking about Teams as a platform mostly for information workers. Every once in a while, you hear them talk about frontline workers. So frontline workers are the people on the front line. So like healthcare workers, people who work in retail, people who work in fast food stores, people in manufacturing lines. And Microsoft wants to get them on Teams also, right? So because that is a huge, huge market. Giant. 80% of the global workforce is estimated to be frontline workers. So today they announced a bunch of features that they're going to be adding to Teams and to Viva, their employee experience onboarding platform, that are aimed at the frontline workers. All of these are super incremental, in my view. You know, it's like adding a new module and new partners to the learning app in Viva. There's a Teams walkie-talkie app that they've talked about before, which actually is a pretty big deal if you're in the frontline worker space. These are devices made primarily by a company called Zebra Technologies. And so they're adding a push-to-talk button to the walkie-talkie feature for people who use that app with Teams on their devices. And then they also announced Cloud for Retail, one of their vertical clouds, is going to be generally available starting February 1. So they had all these like little bits and pieces of announcements around retail, frontline worker, productivity for those kinds of groups. And they just made it into a huge announcement today. But I just gave you the whole announcement. That's it, pretty much.
Do they ever say how many people use these things? They don't ever give numbers.
Yeah. So they give you a number, but they don't give you the base number. They said demand
has doubled.
Is 400%, 400% up.
It's meaningless. Yeah.
Since March from some number we don't know. Right?
It went from
Could be
1
zero.
to 4.
Could be 1.
I mean, these are all the jobs that nobody is filling these days for some reason.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Yeah,
Have they
I mean,
stopped
I think
calling
it's
them first line workers? A phrase I always
no. They're
hated.
still calling them. They're still calling them frontline workers. Sometimes they call them flex workers. There's an overlap between those two things. Sometimes, right? Gig economy workers. You hear that sometimes. That's more like freelance workers.
Freeloaders.
Yeah.
Freelancers. Sorry.
Hey, I'm a freelancer. I don't like that.
No, you're a freelancer. You're not a freeloader. I mean, like a
I
gig.
am not. Gig economy, right?
Gig economy.
Anyway, yeah. So if you are a frontline worker, or if you employ frontline workers and you care about those kind of things, there's many articles on Microsoft sites today and on my site and other sites, and you can go see what's new. But I don't think it's as big a deal as perhaps they do.
Yeah, I mean, I had access to this and I looked at it and I had to ask you. I'm like, am I missing something here? I don't see anything.
No.
It seemed odd, and there was so much communication about it ahead of time. Like this was going to be some kind of a big blockbuster, and I didn't quite see what the excitement was.
No.
Okay. There is excitement about the Black Matte Surface Go 3.
Oh, I know. And I put the wrong link in here in our notes. Sorry, everybody.
Is it beautiful?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Well.
If you care about the Surface Go 3, if there's a group of people who do, and you care about colors, there is a black
I
matte
kind of
version
want to
now.
care about it. I really like the form factor.
I know.
I really want to like it.
I wish it just worked like Surface Pro did, but was smaller.
Yes.
Yeah, but it doesn't.
No, because it's.
It just has constrained, I think the form
processor.
factor.
Yeah.
This is an Intel problem, is what it is, basically.
It is, basically. Right. So it has optional LTE also, because I know there are a group
I like
of people
that
who
too.
care about that. Yep.
It's pretty.
Yeah,
I like how it looks.
Yeah. I don't know. There's not a lot else to say. It's like now available in matte black, $549.99. Pentium
so is
Gold,
this actually
65.
Did this go official finally?
Yeah, it went official this week.
It did. Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking at it on the store.
I saw it was rumored, but okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
really
This is already
pretty.
Surface Pro is available in black as well.
Yeah.
If you're
And then there's the
into that.
Surface Pro 8 with LTE that also became available this week.
Okay.
We had remember on our Discord chat last week, somebody asked us this exact question. They said, "When is Surface Pro 8 coming with LTE?" And we were both like, "I don't know." Well, it's this week, and it's you can order it from the Microsoft Store.
It's here now.
It's here now, $1349.99.
This would be just awesome if it just didn't have that stupid gold Pentium processor in it.
I know. Well, you can
Yeah.
get a version
So only-
with the Core
Right, the
i3,
Surface
I think.
Go has the Pentium, the
Right.
low-end Pentium.
No,
and
I'm
the
talking
Pro
about the
8 is
Go. Yeah.
the Pro 8 is the high.
Oh no, the Pro
processor
8's
one.
great. Yeah, I just
Yeah,
like the little.
yeah.
I like the dinky size. I like the hidden pen.
Yeah.
It's basically
Yeah.
kind of. I mean, I really like the iPad Mini. I like these little.
It's just super cramped to type. Like even
No,
for
it's
me,
not
I
a-
don't have giant
yeah, it's not a-
hands, but
It's not a work.
It's
kinda
not a work
thing. It's a
PC.
consumption device.
right. You take it with you so you can look at things on the go and
Yeah.
answer one-word emails like that.
Yeah.
That'll work for that, right?
But it's built for everyone. It says right here.
It's yeah. Well, Microsoft has never exaggerated, so that's good.
More speed for everyday tasks.
Sure.
So just as long as you're doing everyday tasks, it'll be fine. Do you think, I mean, here they're showing a schoolroom that really this is maybe the kid computer, maybe.
Yeah, not like high school or college, not that kind
little
of
kid.
device. Right. I gave I bought a Surface Go, the original one, and I gave it to my sister, who uses it as a recipe
For
computer
cooking.
in her kitchen.
In the kitchen.
right?
Perfect. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Look at
Yeah,
the
that's like
news in the morning.
$600-700
look at
bucks for-
recipes.
I don't know.
I know.
Jeez. I always tell people,
it's
if you have that much money to spend, get a really nice iPad.
Yeah, it's good for just when you want to use it for a specialized task, or you just don't need to be computing in a fast way. Just looking something up, it works.
Jeez. I could take the car, but the hearse and buggy works fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh boy. I don't know.
Did you say the hearse and
Horse. Sorry.
Oh,
horse.
okay.
The hearse and buggy.
I'll be taking the hearse today, honey.
It might have been an accent problem. Sorry.
Let's do an Xbox thing. We'll take a break. We'll get the bottom, and there's a cocktail awaiting all of you for sitting through this.
You know, I don't actually have this in the notes, but I this has been coming up on Twitter a lot lately. You know, Phil Spencer and because of the anniversary of Xbox, you know, Seamus Blackley has done this recently as well. They've come out, Xbox executives present and past have kind of come out and said, you know, there's too much toxicity on Xbox Live. We gotta fix that. You know, like, yeah, you've had to fix that since there's been an Xbox Live. When are you going to do something about it? I'm on Xbox Live every day. I see incredible instances of racism and political nonsense and blah, blah, blah. It's awful. And I think what Phil Spencer said, I think just today or yesterday, was, you know, Xbox Live is not a free speech platform. Well, it is, Phil. It is until you do something about it. I report people to Xbox Live not every single day, but I bet if I were to play let's say 5 times a week, three of those times I have to report somebody. And I'm not like a kid. I'm not on there 20 hours a day. I mean, I'm on maybe a couple of hours, whatever. But
19.
In a couple, whatever that couple may be. It's alarming and it's a problem. And I'm tired of people talking about it like it means anything. If they're not, they either do something about it or shut up. Like Xbox Live is a cesspool. It's just a fact. And I wish they would do something about it. So I just let that hang in the air.
You know, the problem is people.
Yeah.
It's made of people.
People.
It is.
Yep.
It's true. No, you're right.
Yep.
You're right. There was also, I'm not going to, I can't think of his name. I knew the guy. There was a guy who used to run content moderation on Xbox Live. It was, I almost had it. Steptoe. Thank you.
Stephen Toulouse. Yep.
Thank you. Great guy. And
look at Mary Jo showing off her Xbox knowledge there.
No, you're right. Yeah, Stephen Toulouse.
Impressive.
He was such a great guy. You know, he did what he could do for a time, and then, you know, unfortunately he's not with us anymore. But he was a great guy. But, you know, for the most part, it's just been
it's probably what killed him, to be honest with you.
I think it might have contributed. So, yeah, so that's unfortunate. I wish they would do something about it, you know, and I know kind of that they won't. This is like a platform that lets you, you know, create clan tabs in front of your name so people put little racist things in there, or they let you draw pictures to associate with your user picture, and people put nudity and, you know, nonsense pictures, and it's like, guys,
they should just do what Mary Jo's doing right now. Put a cat in
on
it.
Xbox Live.
Put a cat.
I'd rather have a cat butt than a picture of you. Anyway, so
he didn't really like that segment, right?
Right. Okay. In the good news department, there was a report suggesting that Microsoft has sold as many as 12 million Xbox Series X and S consoles.
Wow, not to me.
I'm having a hard time with the dates because of the pandemic. Like, to me, it feels like last year was the pandemic.
No.
The last 2 years were the pandemic.
Yeah.
So Microsoft launched this console over a year ago, like 15 months ago-ish, at a time when we already knew about the global supply chain issues and how are they going to pull this thing off. And they pulled it off poorly. But the one thing that they did do is Phil Spencer, again, I think, I'm not, you know, thinking about dates, it was probably sometime in mid-2020-ish, or leading up to the launch of these consoles, said, we know that the Xbox Series X, which is the most expensive and more powerful version, is going to sell the best up front. But we also feel that over time, the less expensive Xbox Series S is the one that's going to sell the most, because the hardcore guys are going to hit it on day one and they want the good one. And then over time, it's going to be just normal users and they'll buy the cheaper one. And the one thing that Microsoft did do that helped contribute to this number is they adjusted on the fly, because the Xbox Series X was harder to make because the components of it are more expensive and harder to get. And so they actually shifted the mix, and they've sold a lot of Xbox Series S. And actually, the Xbox Series S has been in stock in a lot of places where the Xbox Series X has not. And for whatever it's worth, I quietly switched to an Xbox Series S over the Christmas break, and I don't notice a difference at all, like at all.
Oh, really? Maybe I should get
part
one
of that
those.
is part of that is because of the games I play.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, long term, obviously, games that are especially made for these consoles, they're, you know, they will look better on the Series X. But the games I play, it's fine. Like even like a new game like Halo Infinite looks awesome on the Xbox Series S. So that's just me. But, you know, whatever. But anyway, Phil Spencer explained, he didn't confirm the number, but he said, yeah, we actually did make that change. And then Sony is also trying to adapt to this new normal, and they originally planned to stop making PlayStation 4 consoles at the end of last year, so 1 year after the PS5 debuted. But now they've confirmed that they're going to keep selling PS4 and making PS4 through the end of this year, in part because, it's an older device, older components. They're easier to get the parts and all that. And they expect, I don't know what the original estimate was or how many they would sell this year, but they expect to sell an additional 1 million PS4 units this year as a result. Because, people want to play the games and they're like, well, I can't find a PS5. Most of the games play on both consoles anyway. This will be a stopgap for a few years. I can, get this cheaper console. It works fine. And I don't know, I said 12 million on Xbox Series X and S. The last number we got from Sony for the PlayStation 5 was 13 point something million, and that was from October. It's possible you factor in the holiday season, it could be getting close to 20 million. But that's not 2 to 1, assuming that the Microsoft number, the Xbox number is correct, because that's an estimate. But, that was always the problem in the last generation. They were outsold so dramatically by Sony, and it doesn't appear to be the case with this gen. So that's good. Good news.
I still can't get one. I'm not one of the 12 million.
Get an S.
Did they break down the S versus X? I bet you it's 9 million S and 3 million X, something like that.
I think you're right.
Yep.
Yeah. The PlayStation 5, the big difference between that and the Xbox is both consoles are the same. The cheaper one just doesn't have the optical drive.
Right.
With the X and the S, the S
difference.
has a lower end processor, less RAM, less storage, whatever. It's still awesome, by the way. It's still better than any Xbox One series or Xbox One model, whatever. But it's small and cute and quiet.
They should have just sold the S and then announced the X next year.
Exactly.
And they would have probably done a lot better.
Except if they came out the gate with that compared to the PS5, they would look like jerks.
No, that's true. Yeah. So what do we have? We have PS5s at home and no Xbox X's or S's.
Yeah.
Sorry. Let's take a little break. Back of the book coming up. Going to be a cocktail this week. I know you look forward to those. Another one of Stephanie's concoctions. Stephanie's concoctions.
It sounds like you've been drinking those cocktails.
I love the Blue Bomber. I'm telling you.
Stephanie, this is an excellent cocktail.
Stephanie, give us a good work. Stephanie and Palm will be on the cruise. We're all going to get drunk in Alaska. So join us. I think we might have sold out. I don't know. It's not too late. And I think by July, everything's going to be great. It will be your coming out party. Go to cruise.twit.tv and join us in Alaska in July.
I'm sorry, who's coming? What's happening? Coming out party?
Yeah, it'll be our coming out party. Well, it's over. Yes!
You mean coming out from under the COVID party?
Out from under the 2 years of COVID.
God, I hope so.
And as far as I know, people would ask me, are they going to cancel? No. I think it's still... the only difference is they are reducing capacity, which means that's why I'm not sure if we're sold out or not. They did warn us. We may be done selling cabins, so I don't know. Gotcha. But go to cruise.twit.tv and find out. Rob Campbell's going, right?
Rich Campbell.
Richard, yeah.
And Raphael.
And Raphael's going? Wow.
I know.
It's going to be a Windows fest. I better get a Windows computer for this trip. Not show up with one of them Macintoshes or something.
No.
Leo. You could run Windows in emulation or virtualization, and you would.
How about I did this? What if I just volunteer to install Linux on anybody's computer that wants it?
I mean, maybe.
We'll have a Linux install party before dinner one night.
I'll picket it. I'll be carrying signs outside.
Get your Manjaro here. It's free.
I'll have a Linux is cancer sign on a stick.
Don't boot up. All right, we're going to take a break and come back.
Don't let friends do Linux.
No. I think now I have to do it. I'll bring it just in case. I'll bring it. And if you want it, I can help. Our show today brought to you by Melissa. Guess what? It's a brand new year. Oh, you noticed? Yes. And you need customer data that is accurate. so that your business can be a success. But did you know that in 2020, there were 36 million address changes processed by the Postal Service? It's not just addresses. People change their email, they change their names, they get married. A huge chunk of customers you might have bad info on. That means you're missing out on them. But that's where Melissa comes in. They can help make sure your data is current and accurate. They know this business. They've been doing it for 35 years. Melissa is both experienced and independent, 35 years of data quality expertise. That's why over 10,000 businesses trust Melissa as the address experts. That's also why they have a renewal rate of 92%. People who use Melissa love it, probably because the typical return on investment for Melissa customers, 25%. You could verify addresses, emails, phone numbers, and names in real time with Melissa. Melissa's global address verification service works in 240 plus countries and territories. It can even do it at the point of entry. That's one of the cool things about Melissa is it's very flexible. You can deploy it on-prem. You can run it as a web service. They have secure FTP processing, so you can upload a list and download it. Software as a service. They have an API that's stellar. In fact, you can test it out with their new Lookups app on iOS and Android, which will let you search addresses, names, and more and verify right there in the app. And, of course, you can use the API. I'll tell you in a bit how you can sign up and play with the API if you want to do that. A lot of companies do that. They add it to their customer service software, for instance, or their shopping carts. Because you know what? Mistakes happen, and they can happen at the time of entry. Melissa's data matching will help eliminate clutter and duplicates, increasing the accuracy of the database. And that means, reduced mailing costs and shipping costs. You don't have to send 8 catalogs to the same address. You've got batch address cleaning, which means you can process an entire address list for accuracy and completeness. Identity verification, which reduces risk, ensures compliance, and keeps customers happy. Geocoding enrichments, email verification. You can remove up to 95% of bad email addresses from your database, and it's all fast and easy. And don't worry about your data. Melissa treats your data like the gold that it is. It continually undergoes independent security audits to reinforce their commitment to data security, privacy, and compliance. They're SOC 2 compliant, HIPAA compliant, GDPR compliant. The best support, world-renowned, 24/7 support when you sign up for a service level agreement. They're still supporting. It's not over. They're still supporting qualifying and essential workers during COVID-19 communities, organizations. Your organization may qualify for 6 months of free service from Melissa. Just apply online at melissa.com. It's just something they're doing to put back into the community. And once again, congratulations to Melissa. Again, named to the Data Quality Magic Quadrant by Gartner. That's the second year in a row. Congratulations, Melissa. So, bottom line, make sure your customer contact data is up to date. Try Melissa's APIs in the developer portal. It's easy to log on, sign up, and start playing in the API sandbox 24/7. Get started today. 1,000 records clean for free. Melissa.com/twit. Melissa.com/twit. We thank him so much for supporting Windows Weekly. Now, Paul, I think it would be a good time for you to deliver your tip of the week to us all.
Well, then you'll be amazed to know that this is actually going to come from Mary Jones.
What? I can't handle the truth. Go ahead, Mary
So I think a lot of people listening to the show might already know this tip, but because I see Microsoft answering this question over and over and over on Twitter, I'm going to put it out there in case somebody doesn't know it. So the tip is, do you know on Windows 11 that you can right-click on the Start button on the taskbar, and you will get a quick access list, as Paul told me this is called, of a lot of different options that help you go directly to things like the apps that are installed on your PC, power options, disk management, Windows Terminal, File Explorer, search, and to me, the most important, shut down or sign out. Because I feel like for normal users, it's really hard to find how to shut down and restart Windows 11. It's not intuitive, which is weird. But this button, it makes it really much simpler. Microsoft keeps answering this when people say, why did you take away the right-click option on the taskbar? And they said, well, we did, but Have you tried right-clicking on the start button? Well, we did. Yeah, we did. I didn't know this, and then I right-clicked on the start button. I'm like, oh, I wonder if everybody knows this is there, because I don't ever remember them really highlighting this or talking this up. Task managers, their settings, right? It's all there.
So this is. She asked me about it. She's like, "Do you know this?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's in my book." Like, it was a feature of Windows 10 as well. So the menu is almost identical in Windows 10. Originally, command prompt, admin and not admin was the default for command line. They moved to PowerShell at some point. In Windows 11, it's Windows Terminal now, but the basic commands are all the same. And Task Manager. I think for people who right-click on the taskbar and can't find Task Manager, this is a great tip because
exactly
you can still get it that way, and it's the same thing. You just have to click in a particular spot, not anywhere.
Right. So it's not like, because so many times I'm like, why did they take that away? And then I'm like, oh, wait, they kind of just moved it over. Right.
Well,
I never said
that. Right click
it's
taskbar.
Not exactly. That was
it had other options as well. Yeah.
It's a start. I'm trying to be the glass half full person here and say, hey, they did take that away, but at least you have this.
I would call this a workaround.
A workaround. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you have normal users, parents, people who may not be experts and have their own Windows field guide at the ready, who are these people, I don't know, but guide them to right-click on the start button when you're trying to.
A lot of people call this the power user menu. But the official name is
really,
quick action menu. Quick action menu is the real name.
Quick access. Is it quick action or access?
Sorry. Access. Quick access. Sorry.
Access. Okay.
Yep. Access.
Quick access. So my tip is use the quick access menu.
Please.
Consider the.
I mean, I wouldn't use this on your computer, but no, you should. Yes.
Nice. Very nice.
Oh my gosh.
Very good. Paul, do you want to do the app of the week still, or should I let Mary Jo take that too?
Why? She can if she wants. I have two. I only wrote down one. Originally, I had Start11 in here as well. I just mentioned that again. $5.99. Fix the start menu. By the way, one of the other things that this product adds is right-click start menu or right-click taskbar, and you can get to Taskman again. So you can get it that way too if you prefer it. So that's an alternative. And then Mozilla launched Firefox 96 this week. I didn't see anything in the way of major new features, but I have spent a lot of time lately not using Edge, I guess would be the way I would say it. And I still think the two big mainstream contenders are Chrome, obviously, and then Firefox. So if you're kind of anti-Chrome, anti-Chromium,
I'm really happy with Firefox, I have to say.
The only thing I don't like,
new anti-Facebook features is the main.
Yeah, that's right. They're tracking Facebook.
Yeah,
it's like the guys that like scammers call them, and then they turn on the scammers' webcam so they can show that they're seeing them, that kind of thing. Except they're doing it to Facebook, which is of course hilarious. Yes, I just there's a couple little things I don't like about Firefox. I wish one of the things I have to use a lot is like I'll go to a Microsoft blog post or something and I want to use the image, but it's commingled with text, so I want to find the underlying image, and so I do that by there's an inspect element kind of feature in all browsers, and you can go to the different elements in the page and you can find it, but the way that Firefox does it is just different from Chromium-based browsers, so I can't find the images this way. Like it's really hard, but it's a very esoteric use case. So I think for most people, Firefox is great for sure.
And you said you had two?
Oh, I'm sorry. The other one was Start11, which I mentioned earlier. Up the top of the show. We didn't have a lot under Windows 11. I felt like it needed more, but originally that was going to be that.
Pad out the Windows section.
He's padding the segments again.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Code name, Mary Jo? Code name?
Yes. Code name is Gibraltar this week. Gibraltar seems to be the code name for Microsoft Defender for Windows, the new version that's coming. This week, our friend Illumia Italia on Twitter, who always gets really good scoops and images, posted a picture and said, here's a sneak peek at what's coming for the next version of Defender for Windows. And what's interesting about this is it looks like it's a consumer update, And it looks like it's going to enable you to protect not just your Windows PC, but any iOS and Android devices that you have in your environment, your home environment as well. So it's almost like it becomes a mini suite of Defender for your consumer-based devices. So we don't know when this is going to launch. There's actually a preview placeholder in the store, and I downloaded the preview from the store, but I couldn't access it because right now I believe it's limited to Microsoft employees who are testing it. Maybe some Windows insiders, I'm not sure. But I would say it's coming soon, given this image leaked.
Nice.
So yeah, that's what Gibraltar is. Yeah.
Nice. That's a perfect code name for it, actually.
It is.
The Rock of Gibraltar.
Yeah.
Protecting you and your PC from the bad guys.
And your iPhone and your Android phone.
Yes.
All together.
And now, don't be blue. It's time for the cocktail of the week. And I take it, Paul, you're going to do this one.
Yeah. So my wife made this, obviously.
Looks good.
Yeah. So the key to this one is a liqueur called Hypnotic, which is not spelled the way you might think.
I was going to say Curacao because that's the other blue liquid.
Right. Yeah. So Hypnotic is also, it has this unique blue color. I believe it is a combination of some kind of a French vodka, maybe cognac and some fruit juices, but it has a... yes, exactly. Right. So it's 3 parts Hypnotique, 1 part vanilla vodka, 1 part Malibu rum, in case you thought there wasn't enough alcohol in it, and then an egg rum. An egg white for the foam there at the top. So you shake all the ingredients without ice until it's frothy. Add the ice to a shaker. Shake again to chill. Serve it in a martini glass, and you can see if you can see the photo. I'm not sure if you're showing it, but if you're looking at the photo,
I am.
There is a red blur at the bottom. That is
cool.
Just a bright red cherry. You know, normally she uses those dark maraschino cherries that are also steeped in alcohol in case there wasn't enough alcohol.
You got it. Those are so good. I buy them by the jar now because I could eat them straight, put them on ice cream. It's so good. With
this color scheme, it's kind of cool. The bright red.
Yeah, it's pretty
color. Yeah, they sink like rocks in this alcohol.
It is pronounced Hypnotic. It's spelled weirdly, HPNOTIQ.
Yep.
And it was created in New York, Long Island, but it's bottled in France.
There you go.
It was created in 2001 by Raphael Jacobi, a college dropout living with his parents on Long Island. This is according to Wikipedia. After seeing a
rich person living on an island.
Yeah. After seeing a blue perfume at Bloomingdale's, he decided to create a blue liquor.
I think this must be chosen specifically for the color, right? It's just alcohol based. Well, some fruit juices, but
his big breakthrough was when P. Diddy agreed to sell it in his restaurant chain.
Actually, that was the big breakthrough for me when he decided to sell my book.
Yeah. P. Diddy and Field Guide to Windows 10. It's a very famous
Field Guide
story.
To P. Diddy.
Field Guide to P. Diddy. It's Hypnotic's been promoted by in rap lyrics from Kanye West, better known as Ye. R. Kelly, Ye, Ludacris, Missy Elliott, Jay-Z, Lil Kim, Fabulous, and Diddy himself. Wow. So you're drinking a rap liqueur.
He is.
Yeah.
And then we're listening to the Blue Rapper.
The Blue Rapper. Ooh,
but we listened to like Taylor Swift and the Fleetwood Mac.
I see your music night choices. I see. It's nice that you have music night, though. I think that's really cool. Yeah. This is, believe it or not, the 4th best-selling imported liqueur in the United States.
That's incredible.
I'd never heard of it.
I didn't heard of this until about 2 months ago.
Huh. They also have, and maybe we can get Stephanie to use this, a purple liqueur called Harmony.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah. So
we get a purple gin, which is, what's the name of it? We have a purple gin. I don't remember the name. I'm sorry, but it's beautiful. It's a beautiful color.
It's I guess it's got fruit juices, vodka, and cognac in it.
Yeah.
But it's only 34 proof. It's not. There's Mary Jo has some
piled
beers
on
that
the
are
other.
worse. Yeah, you got it. Well, Malibu's not notoriously alcoholic either, so
Yeah.
You might want to get some Everclear to just juice it up a little bit.
we do have local Hooch.
Local Hooch. Also good, as long as the revenuer doesn't catch up with you.
Yep, made from a hidden still whose location I will not reveal.
Is that the case?
Oh, yeah. No, we know
Does
people.
it come
around
in
here that
mason
make-
jars?
Yes, it does.
Wow.
Yes, it does.
You can
have,
use it to
in
start
fact-
your barbecue, I believe.
In fact, we have a very nice color-coordinated row of mason jars that are basically, Smarties or some kind of candy with
Dissolved in Hooch?
moonshine. Yeah, so they come out like blue, green, purple.
Do you drink it or just look at it? I don't
We
think
do
it's-
both.
I think
You don't drink
better-
them straight. That would be dangerous.
Wow. Well, folks, we've come to a roaring end on that one. On that note,
Yep.
the Blue Bomber. Nice. How often do you
How often
drink?
do we drink?
Yeah.
Weekends later.
Just okay, not every night you go have your cocktail.
No.
No, I
There
mean
was
that's how
there
America
was a
did it
period.
for years. I mean,
I was going to say there was a period in the pandemic there early on where we overdid it. We were eating cheesies from Canada and cocktails many nights a week, and we thought, we're not scientists, but this
800
doesn't
pounds
seem
later.
healthy. Yeah, it just doesn't seem healthy.
It's funny because Lisa has been saying, what we really should do is get a charcuterie board,
Right.
and just eat charcuterie every night.
Well, the best thing about the pandemic era over drinking was that it happened when the gym was closed, so it was like the perfect
storm.
Even better.
Yeah.
Waddle back to
Perfect.
the gym later.
Oh yeah.
We do Windows Weekly every Wednesday, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, 1900 UTC. Watch us live at live.twit.tv. If you're watching live, chat live at irc.twit.tv or in our Club Twit Discord. We've got some big Club Twit stuff this week. We're going to do Stacey Higginbotham's book club is tomorrow. Andy Anako's Ask Me Anything is Friday. If you're a member of Club Twit, you can participate live or listen after the fact because there's a special feed for club members called the Twit Plus feed. There's also the Untitled Linux Show, the Giz Fizz, and lots of other stuff. Maybe we'll get Paul and Stephanie's cocktail hour on tape too. That'd be kind of fun to do that. All of that's $7 a month plus ad-free versions of all our shows at twit.tv/club twit. On-demand versions of all of the shows we do are still available on the website, twit.tv, in this case, twit.tv/dubdub, or subscribe in your favorite podcast player, and you should be able to get them that way too. And if you do use your favorite podcast player to listen, please leave us a 5-star review and tell the world about Windows Weekly. Paul Thurrott blogs at thurrott.com. Become a premium member there, and you get some extra good stuff. His book, The Field Guide to Windows 10, is available at leanpub.com. What's your ship date for Field Guide to Windows 11?
Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be first quarter of this year, I would say. I spent a lot of time working on it over the break.
Yeah, that's nice.
And there's a bunch of stuff I kind of put off for a while that I've been working on a lot lately. That's one of them. So,
nice.
But yeah, it will happen.
Good.
I don't know. I'd really like them to ship a more cohesive version of this thing, frankly. But I don't know. As the months go on, it's like maybe I shouldn't wait.
Just get it out there. That's the beauty of LeanPub is you can update it. People can get updates automatically and all that.
Yeah, but the problem with them updating it all the time is I have to update it all the time.
Oh,
yeah. You got to remember how was last year going to go? They were going to ship Windows 10 21H2. Nothing. I had nothing to do. Second half of 2021 was looking great.
And then
Windows 11 landed.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah, and they put the thing out in like 3 months. Not good.
They don't think of you. That's the problem,
They don't.
That's true.
Think
I wish
more
they
about your schedule.
Yeah, they should really consider Paul.
I mean, you don't have to just consult. Ask.
Ask them. Would it be okay with you if we put out Windows 11 now, or should we wait till next year?
You should wait till next year. That would have been my answer.
Mary Jo Foley writes for ZDNet at allaboutmicrosoft.com and is very proud to say she'll never write another book.
We'll get her.
She cherishes her happiness and free time.
I got the title too, Mary Jo. Microsoft 3.0.
No.
1. 3.01.
Or just do like the kids do and go Microsoft 3. with no space. Microsoft 3.
Right, with no space. Exactly.
No space. Just one word. Thank you, both of you. I really appreciate all the work you do for us and the great show you produce every week. And I know all our listeners do too. So thank you, Paul and Mary Jo. Have a great week.
Thank you too.
We'll see you next time on Windows Weekly.
Bye-bye.
Android is constantly evolving, and if you're part of the Android faithful, then you'll be just as excited about it as I am. I'm Jason Howell, host of All About Android, along with my co-hosts Florence Ion and Ron Richards, where every week we cover the news, we cover the hardware, and we cover the apps that are driving the Android ecosystem. Plus, we invite people who are writing about Android, talking about Android, and making Android onto the show. Every Tuesday at twit.tv, look for All About Android.